Got my little baby says it knows all right. Sneaking up and out of sight in the middle of the night, though. Her hair is black, like coal. I said, look out, woman, I got the rock and roll.
Oh, rock out the moon.
I don't know, maybe he's got before show jitters, maybe he'll be like nervous or something, but
You never know. Here comes Matt.
maybe he'll want to stand. Yeah. Sweet thing. Feel alright? Postage.
I don't know. It's weird. Can you speak?
You want to check in?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. All right.
I can hear down there, but I can hear you.
If you want me to move the mic closer, let me know.
Maybe a little closer just so I can hear you. People downstairs.
And then
It's good that it's on here.
Is this any better? Okay.
yeah, it's good.
Does anyone use these? So Jim took me back to the roots in his studio, and in West Village, on 14th Street.
What? I'm sorry?
And can you hear me okay?
No? That's why I said what?
He took me back to the roots of his studio on 14th Street.
In the meatpacking district.
And he said, is that what it is?
Yeah, which is a very trendy, fashionable part of Manhattan now. It's a very, very expensive place. Yeah, 14th Street and 9th Avenue was where Jim's studio was. Yeah, that's...
You said you came in with Julia K. Fritz in Action Swingers.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I can't quite recall, but, Julie was in the Action Swingers, and she had probably worked with Jim at Waterworks, and I had heard of some other people working there, and it was supposed to be a good studio and cheap, and Jim was supposed to be a sympathetic engineer. So I don't think I went in with Julie. I was never in the Action Swingers, but...
No, but when you were in Pussy Galore, was she in that?
Yes, Julie and I started Pussy Galore together, but we never worked with Jim.
Oh, okay, but he was talking about the first time he met you, so he remembered when you walked in the door. I don't know.
I can't remember.
You
I
remember.
don't know.
Anyways, I think you're the apple of his eye. So how did your recording relationship with him begin?
With Jim, well, how did it be? I'm sorry, how did it begin?
Yeah, like where did you...
Well, I mean, I was just looking for, for many years when I wanted to make a record, I'd just go to find a studio and an engineer, somebody that I really, who had done another record that I may have liked. Like I worked with Steve Albini, I'd worked with Wharton Tears, I'd worked with Kramer. It was, and I don't think it was so, I certainly wasn't ever looking for a producer. I was looking for just a place that wasn't too expensive and somebody who, wouldn't be bothered by noise.
Yeah, but your first album you did with Albini and Wharton Tears, right?
First, which album?
The Blues Explosion.
Yeah, the first Blues Explosion record we did. Very first session was with Kramer at his old noise studio. Well, not the old one. The old one, Pussy Galore did a set, did part of the album Right Now, and that would probably be 1987. And then in maybe in 91, the Blues Explosion recorded with Kramer when he was downtown, probably the second noise studio. And we went in for an afternoon and just recorded live. And then we did some sessions with Steve. out in New Jersey at a studio that's not there anymore.
And that's the one that with Wharton Tears.
Pardon me?
Wharton Tears worked on that too?
No, I don't think so. I may have mixed some things with Wharton, but the sessions were with Kramer, and the recording sessions were with Kramer and Steve. I mean, a Wharton record, I would think, is like the EP, the Pussy Galore EP, Pussy Gold 5000, and well, it did add some extra width, and you know, there are kind of bits and pieces I would do with Wharton. Yeah. Now, the first Blues Explosion record, I think, is more Kramer and Albini.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have, like, I made it a note that Albini, I think, is the first for a lot of bands. Like, I see that he does a lot of bands' first albums.
Well, he didn't do it. I mean, I suppose so. I mean, I'd worked with Steve before. You know, I'd worked with him with Pussy Galore. We did part of the Right Now album, which is '87, but we'd already done a couple records. So, I don't know. I mean, Steve is he's very talented and very clever, and you know, I think he can be very affordable. You know, he is he likes to work with with people.
Yeah. So you ended up sticking with Jim, I see.
Well, I mean, Jim is someone that I was able to really work very well with, and you know, I think we developed a very good working relationship, and got along very well, and we were very productive, and came up. There was some good stuff that came out of that. You know, I've worked with Steve a few times over the years. You know, twice with Pussy Galore. You know, '87, then probably again in '89, twice with Blues Explosion, probably '91, and then '98. You know, so I've worked with Steve more than once, but yeah, definitely that's a different sort of relationship than the one I had with Jim. Yeah, and you know, once Jim and I sort of got rolling and hit it off, you know, then we continued for a while.
Well, my question about Jim was how much influence do you feel contributed to you? So obviously he's contributed a huge amount of energy.
Yeah, Jim.
To keep you there, you know.
Jim was. I mean, I mean, I learned a lot from Jim, and I certainly had a great time doing it. Those records with him. Yeah, I learned an awful lot from him, and Jim, I think, really, in a way, defined the sound of the Blues Explosion. You know, for at least on record, you know, he was a very big part of that.
Yeah, influenced you a lot. Your growth was really exploring a lot with him, I think.
Pardon me?
Your growth? Like, I find that he's really helped develop your growth.
This year?
As a band, you know, like together, I think.
I didn't know a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you got to understand is when we were working with Jim.
He lets you explore, you know?
Well, if as I was saying, when we were working with Jim, the band, the Blues Explosion, would come in with songs that were done, or we'd come in with songs that were recorded somewhere else, and it was Jim and I who would then mess around with things and mix them. So it wasn't really so much that the band, the Blues Explosion, three of us were working with Jim, although that did happen.
Yeah.
My take on it is, and you know, my experience was much more that it was just something that Jim and I did together, and so you know, the band was doing its own thing, and the way in which we wrote songs and the changes which we were going through was something that you know, Jim wasn't a part of. That was something we did on our own time. I've always made records by having songs written and have, you know, things pretty much worked out before going in. Yeah.
But he co-produced you, like you both produced the albums together.
Yeah.
So why did you seek out Steve Jordan? I heard that it was Judah was a huge fan of Keith Richards.
Yeah, Judah's a big fan of Mr. Richards, and we were looking for a producer for that album, and had agreed to try to do that, you know, in a sort of old-fashioned way. And we talked to a lot of different people, and a friend of ours suggested Steve Jordan, and we met with him and hit it off.
Well, this is what I saw. Your development working with Steve seemed to nurture your writing abilities and your vocal abilities.
Well, I mean, Steve.
That's what I thought.
Well, okay.
I
Steve didn't really. He didn't. It's the thing that Steve did was spend a lot of time with the performance, the vocal performance. As far as the lyrics and the writing, he wasn't involved in that. And that wasn't a part of his thing. Steve was very, yes, that was a part of what he did, though, was the performance and the comprehension, understanding, making sure that not only were things sort of the sound of not only the vocals but everything. The sound was terribly important, and using the right microphone and the right processing, and but also the performance and getting things as far as being in a pocket or a rhythmic performance, and also being able to understand what was being sung or what was being said. That was something that Steve spent a lot of time with me on, and on that record, Plastic Fang, there was. We did a lot of comping of vocals and stuff like that.
Yeah, you did a lot of vocals on that, more than any other album.
But you have to. But that may be so. I haven't listened to the record for a long time.
Yeah,
it's important to understand that Steve Jordan wasn't a part of that, though.
Yeah.
It's not that we were writing the songs with Steve Jordan, in the same way we weren't writing the songs with Jim Waters. Even though we would give a production credit to Steve Jordan or a co-production credit to Jim Waters, and I'm not trying to belittle any of their contributions, but it's not that these engineers or producers are influencing the songwriting, certainly not to such a degree, or not. I mean, I just want to correct that your perception of, oh, well, there's a lot of words or a lot of singing on that record. That's not because of Steve Jordan. It's not because of the producer.
I think a lot of people have that perception, though, only because they're fans of Music Explosion. They see this guttural kind of style, and then they see exploration. I don't know. I just
perhaps, yeah.
People that I talk to, that's what they see. So I guess they might contribute it to Steve Jordan as opposed to saying that's what you wanted to do. I'm not saying
if the biggest way I guess Steve could have influenced that is that as far as song selection and sequence, which is I really let him. When I decided, well, we're going to have this guy produce the record, I really let him produce it and really took a step back, and that included the selection of songs that were going to be on the record and the sequence of the album.
So you decided to do that, or you let him do the sequence, or?
I let Steve Jordan do that.
So you don't have any say in that?
Excuse me?
You didn't have any say in it? Or you didn't want to have any say? Just like
as I was saying, with Plastic Fang and making the decision to work with a producer and to really just totally go with that, part of that for me was to allow this person to also, Steve wanted to pick the songs that were going to be on the record and sequence the record. This is all stuff that I usually do. So I let Steve do that because it was part of the whole, project, the whole experiment, if you will. And so Steve perhaps chose songs with more words, So it's not, that's maybe where
it ended. More room to be more freedom to just not worry about all that, and then you get to be more free musically.
No.
No, it's the same. You put the same energy into it.
Yeah.
Who's Peter Arsenal? I always see him on your.
Peter he's a front of house engineer. He's the guy who does the live sound he did live sound for Pussy Galore and Boss Hog and the Blues Explosion.
You know what I mean? Like, you actually.
So, when it comes to remixes with your bands, you have a lot of people that do remixes. So, how does that work? Do they come to you?
For the most part, no. No, it's for the most part, it's you know, we you know, I'll ask them.
Oh,
it's
you
not
soloist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not because she's gonna be in your movie, yeah.
Yeah, I already did her a few times.
I thought I saw her in the clip. My wife and I are working on a record with Elizabeth now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, it's good. It sounds great. Elizabeth's come up with some really good stuff. No, you gotta understand that you know, with the Blues Explosion, anything pretty much, it's not because the record company said, well, you gotta get Solux to do a remix, or you gotta do a remix. It was my idea, or it was the band's idea.
So when you did Acme, you chose all those engineers?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Just contact them.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. What I, you know, the, you know, I believe in punk rock and doing things for yourself, and so yeah, I'm the one that decides, you know, like, well, this is what it's going to sound like, this is what it's going to look like. I want to work with these people, and you know, it's.
Did you record on Friday, or were you going to record?
No, we didn't. We were going to record on Sunday in Boston.
Oh, right, at Fort Apache.
Yeah.
And you're going to Torag Studios?
Yeah, in June.
I talked to Liam Watson.
How did that go?
But I talked to him on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Judah actually gave me his contacts and told me to check it out. It's pretty awesome. I'd like to go see that studio. It's So, you have 6 bootleg albums, I read, that you're releasing on Matador?
Oh, it's not going to be on Matador, no.
What's that?
It's not going to be on Matador.
Is it?
No.
That's what I read, I guess it was.
Oh. We're going to try to put some out ourselves, yeah.
So what is this label that you're on with Matt? I haven't heard of it before.
Yep Rock? Oh, they're a label from North Carolina. Yeah. Yeah, they've got a website. You could probably go there and it'd give you a good idea of what they're about. Yeah.
So how does it work with Matt and having his studio at your fingertips?
Oh, making that one. I mean, it was wonderful to have that luxury, and it is a luxury to, you know, to not have to worry about what the rate is, how much the place is going to cost, to not have to worry about, well, you know, what time is it, or can we come back tomorrow? When we were working on the first Heavy Trash record, it was great just to be able to come and go as we pleased, and really take things apart and put them back together and then take them apart again, and to experiment and to try different things and retry things. It was very, very nice. It's and
it's close to home too, right?
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to do that album, the first album?
I don't know, because it's probably started when we first started hanging out and playing songs together and writing songs, and maybe a year and a half, but we worked at a very slow pace, and as I said, we would let things sit, maybe because one of us had to go away or something, you know.
Yeah, so I think it covered almost everything. Jim was talking about when you first came in, you had a hi-fi amp and borrowed speakers.
Had a what?
Hi-fi amp and borrowed speakers. And
what's a hi-fi amp?
I don't know, that's what he said.
Oh.
I guess a little like little
I can't remember.
borrowed speaker. He remembers everything, eh? It's good.
Yeah. Jim's great. I would love to work with him again. I was very sad when he moved away. Very, very sad. I really do like to work with him. and he's got a nice place out in Tucson, and it's nice to go out there and visit, but yeah, it's far away. Yeah. And what is the angle on your documentary?
I think mostly it's about relationships with the bands and the engineers, and do you talk about gear? There's a lot to talk about, and I'm going to cover mastering, but the processes.
What master engineers are you going to speak with?
I'm not exactly sure yet.
Yeah.
We were talking about, what's that guy? There's a Canadian guy who did the... Something more. Did, it's been a long day, sorry. Matt, what was the name of that engineer that you were talking about? The Cowboy Junkies?
Oh, Peter Moore.
Peter Moore, yeah. But Bob Wig is in it. There's Howie Weinberg is like fun.
Yeah, Bob Levin's
I love Ireland. I spent all summer there last year.
Yeah.
I'm terribly sorry. Too much nice squeeze by here.
But yeah, I haven't decided yet. I have to figure that one out. I wanted to maybe look at, someone who's doing an album and kind of see what it's like. Actually, I think last time I talked to Jim, you were, well, not last one, but the Little Rabbits came to New York to do a mastering.
Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah.
And I was in France at the time, and Harvey came to me.
I went to that. I think I went and visited at that session. I think that may have been with Greg Calby.
That's the,
Yeah, at Sterling. I think he's at Sterling. That's a very nice lab. He's a nice guy. Yeah.
I don't want to keep you. Probably have a lot to do.
That's all right.
I just have to tell you that orange is a huge reason why I'm doing this video.
Really?
And it's pretty interesting because, I've followed the Blues Explosion for 12 years now, but, and what you're doing now is obviously, because of Orange, I had to go to meet Jim because I love that album so much.
Oh.
When I got there, I met the Little Rabbits.
You went to Tucson.
Yeah, when I went to Tucson.
Yeah.
It's Waterworks.
Well, that record wasn't made in Tucson. Orange.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But that was the pinnacle.
But he was coming back and forth. He was living in Tucson.
At the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Little Rabbits love the sound of Orange, and that's how they found Jim.
They found Jim, yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because there was that connection.
But those bootlegs you mentioned, Jim's mixed one of them.
Oh, I have
The Blues Explosion one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one in the Congress Hotel? Or?
No, it's a different. It's from 4 years earlier.
Oh, okay.
Which Jim recorded and we never released, and so he mixed it in the fall, and we're hopefully we'll put it out by the end of this summer.
He does a lot of remixes.
Yeah, I really like the stuff he did with Scott that he was doing. Scott Benzel, I think that's the guy's name. He was working with, that was his partner for a while. They did a lot of really clever stuff. Yeah.
I think he thinks that Tucson's just taps. Right?
Just what?
Taps, like musicians.
Oh.
It's hard for him. It's the same bands all the time for him. It's like people don't want to listen to music that's people say it's fine.
Yeah. So you talked to Steve?
Yeah, I talked to Steve a couple years ago, and then I was at a K-pop conference last year. Larry Crane.
I don't know him, but I know who he is. Yeah. But you gonna talk to Jim Dickinson?
I don't know that guy. Actually, I've seen him on your albums.
He's an interesting guy. Yeah. And I don't know if you really believe a producer does anything.
See, I didn't used to until I talked to a few people.
Yeah, and who convinced you?
It was...
Or do you believe?
Well, after, not even Steve, well, it wouldn't be Steve because he's not a producer, but John Parrish, and even Jim, to a degree, because I think, because he likes to have that influence, I think he needs to kind of mold things for you. But I never thought that a producer producer was even necessary, and I still really don't to a degree.
Mm.
But I think some people probably do need a producer. Like I just particularly believe in it. I don't know. I can see the role for certain circumstances, but I don't think that it's always necessary.
Yeah, maybe check out Jim Dickinson.
Is he in New York?
No, he's in Mississippi. Did you talk to Kramer?
No.
Did you talk to Wharton Tears?
I had an email. We talked over email, but set anything up.
These are all old people, though. They were sort of like,
I talked
I don't know.
to John Parrish, Dave Bottrill, who else? Oh my God, there's so many. I can't remember. Craig, I did Craig Shoemaker. But it was like Craig and Jim, you know. Garth Richardson, do you know him? Richie Hawtin. Steve Albini, Bob Weston, you know Bob Weston.
Yeah, and I see Calvin is in your.
And I did Kaplan.
Yeah.
I went to Olympia. Oh, I went to Narcotic. So many.
I mean, I think the thing that's most interesting is people that just, do stuff on their own, and in a way that's sort of against what a producer's about. At least the model that is kind of out there or presented from when I was growing up. The idea of a producer for records in the 70s or whatever is, I don't know, some guy in some jerk or, slick dude or something. And, the most interesting stuff and the stuff that was most exciting on your trailer is seeing, the kind of freaks and people doing it on their own, like Calvin in his place. But in a way, that's kind of what a producer was in the way in the back. You could cite the greatest example is Sam Phillips, who was, a freak who just had his own place and did it on his own, I think that a lot of people sort of lost sight of it, or it's really just part of a business scam, with the major labels and recording industry getting so big, then it's like, well, this whole kind of thing grew up of like, well, the producer. And, it used to be that it was some guy who was just, probably wanted to make some money, but also, was just a little bit off and, had some equipment and was just trying to, shake things up a bit.
Did you ever read Steve's essay, The Problem with Music?
Yeah, I mean, Steve's very clever, and I like him a lot, but he's yeah.
I know he's out there, but I love that.
Yeah.
He's got something to say.
He's a very, very talented guy.
Yeah.
Dave Newfield.
Are you talking to any people who work in like hip hop, rap?
I haven't found hip hop yet.
But I mean, there's some, some pretty weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's not like, somebody doing something weird and they put it out and press 1,000 copies. They're doing something weird and, it's selling millions of copies. So I don't know. It's not like you got to. You could just keep a narrow focus.
I have dabbled with that. Yeah. But the thing is, I've been shooting for 3 years now. So it's not that I need to wrap it up. It's just I need to start to figure it.
Sure. Well, is there anything else I could help you with right now? I'm sorry if I'm a little scattered this evening.
Things on your mind. Yeah, great.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's anything else you think you want to ask, just feel free. All right.
Oh, I do want to ask you if we can maybe shoot a little bit.
That would be fun.
I'll use a little camera too, so. Thanks, John.
is about to commence. Will the owner of a 1969 Ford Fairlane please report to the stage? Because the sex party is about to commence. Attention please, ladies and gentlemen. When the sex party is about to begin. To one of these parties once, but I was a much younger person then. I could not believe the things that I saw behind closed doors. The shame that I felt in my community. I want you to pour some molasses over everybody in Waterloo. Oh, Sebadoh. Tonight, at the Starlight, to get down. Yes, on the other side of the world, way up in space, deep in the heart of the ocean. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to send a message to the world.